Alright, so welcome everybody. This is going to be game number 1 in a best of 5 in between Hera and Liereyy for AM in blue and green. Liereyy is playing Vikings in green, and Hera is playing Slavs in blue, so pretty traditional setup over here. Empire Wars Duo Quarterfinals, we have BadB0y in Vietnamese in red on north, and ACCM is playing Franks in yellow, as Nathaniel is going to sub for the second month over here. Thank you so much for the support. So let's see what we have. We are gonna have Liereyy with the Archer Civilization. I'm not surprised, and whatever is happening here to BadB0y, this is not great. He had some idle time on the range and also some idle time on the Villagers. His gold mine is relatively safe if he can finish these walls. On the other side, we are gonna have Liereyy with a somewhat exposed gold mine, but definitely vulnerable if he wants to. He's going to go double range archers over here with Vikings, and we're gonna have scouts coming in here from ACCM versus Hera. So initially you're gonna have the advantage with Franks over here, but once Hera gets bloodlines over here, Hera should have a massive advantage. It's important to point out that since Franks have the berry bonus, they actually have a pretty good start in Empire Wars, but once we transition more to farms, Slavs of course will have the better eco and the better cavalry in terms of scouts. So I think that ACCM has to do damage early on. He already has 3 scouts out here, while Hera is not producing any, just adding the first one. So this could be an ugly surprise for him. He's not fully walled, he's gonna go full on food, so he's completely abandoning his gold mine. Meanwhile, left side Liereyy is sending 2 archers forward. Now, Vietnamese will have the extra HP over here, but I don't think it matters much when you're fighting against Liereyy, who is gonna have insane micro in this one. And it appears that BadB0y will be fully walled. He's even able to take his Huntables, which is a nice bonus over here. Hera trying to finish off his walls, and I think he's going to be able to hear. It remains to be seen on the berries. Let's see if Hera's gonna have some quick walls. It doesn't appear so, and that could be a dead villager from Hera. Scouts pop out, but those are Frankish scouts, and Hera's gonna lose 1 villager over here at the beginning. And meanwhile, we're gonna have another villager going down here from Hera. That's actually a great start over there for ACCM. The berries have to be abandoned, and in the meanwhile, Hera is switching to the left side to try and fight against the archers from BadB0y over here. Now, this could be a tough fight for BadB0y. Liereyy is here with the Viking archers, and there is also some meat shield over here in the form of some Scouterinos. And apparently, ACCM keeps pressuring. That's already 6 scouts, and I think that I like this quite a bit here from BadB0y. He's just sitting back, chilling, defending. He knows that he shouldn't really take a fight against Liereyy if it's possible, and just try to, you know, force Liereyy to stay here while ACCM is able to do some pressure onto Hera's base. Now, Hera is going to be walled very soon. He's gonna have spearmen and scouts out now here, so I don't think that ACCM is able to do additional damage. This will be the moment where ACCM needs to switch towards Lierey's base. Liereyy walling himself here, even though there is definitely a hole and the gold mine is also quite exposed. Indeed, ACCM is coming in here with the scouts to help and reinforce. But look at Lierey's eco. He's getting close to clicking up the castle age. BadB0y not even close in this one, as the Scouterinos now arrive. No upgrades on those guys at all. And Liereyy, is he gonna have a quick haul? Apparently not, and that could be another dead villager over here on AM's side. Meanwhile, Vietnam hasn't lost a single villager so far, and that's also, as I said, an opening. Meanwhile, BadB0y kind of has to run for his life though, and this is actually pretty bad. Liereyy with the quick walls. Those are some amazing quick walls, but still there is an opening, and that in the end is going to mean that additional villagers could be lost. The drawback here is that you're losing the archers of BadB0y, and that is going to hurt in the long run, because Liereyy is able to keep his archers alive, and he's gonna have crossbows very soon. So I feel like it could have been a better fight if ACCM just picks off the archers from Liereyy. Liereyy has lost quite a lot of villagers, so now the ecos are pretty much even, I would say. But, oh, Liereyy, nice quick wall so far on the Huntables, as ACCM is going to take this fight against the Spearmen. There is still some exposed villagers, and I think it's perfect if ACCM can just force a fight here against the archers, pick off a few. But look at Liereyy, he's by far the first player to go up in the castle age, shortly followed by ACCM, and I am pretty sure that Hera will follow as well very soon. The last player to click up is going to be Hera in the end, but you kind of have to do something with those scouts here. Potentially pick off a few archers before they upgrade to crossbows. They should know that Liereyy is on his way towards Castle Age, because it's Vikings, and if you yourself are going up to Castle Age, you should know that the Vikings player is probably already up as well. But the start was pretty solid, I would say. from the Vietnamese team. They managed to pick off a few Villagers. We're gonna have Skateboarding coming in here alongside the second stable. And I wonder if we are going to see 3 stables here for ACCM. Because that could actually be an idea to try and go for a triple stable Knight push with Franks. And with that, you could potentially try to win the game fast. Because I think in the long run... Oh, we don't have a scoreboard. Whoops. Sorry. I completely forgot about the scoreboard. But this is game number 1 because we're on Arabia. Now, this could be pretty dangerous for Liereyy. He still hasn't had his upgrades ready, and that's a lot of scouts. Quick walls are in, but all those villagers could die, and that's going to be a lot of villagers killed from Liereyy. Sure, he's gonna have the crossbows, so he either fights right now or he's gonna lose quite a lot of villagers, and that's not great for Liereyy. And meanwhile, the scouts can rush inside. This is the moment when you want to trade those scouts to the archers before they upgrade to crossbows, though. I think this is a bad decision from BadB0y and ACCM that they didn't actually take the fight against the crossbows. They tried to kill as many villagers as they could, and indeed they killed quite a lot, but they could have killed this army, and that would have been a little bit more influential, I believe. Anyways, one crossbow from Liereyy over here harassing BadB0y's wood line. And are we gonna see some more villager kills? Sure, we are going to. Look at that, 2 more villagers die from Liereyy. Liereyy is down to 34, and I actually said it before the series that in this tournament we have seen so many times that the weaker team, or the supposed to be weaker team, is winning Arabia. I'm not saying that they have won this one just yet. In fact, there is absolutely a way back in here for Hera and Liereyy. Apparently, Hera's gonna go triple stable Knights over here. But I would say that right now, the Vietnamese team is having the advantage. We have Tozero Nice with the second month of sub as well. Thank you so much as well. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you. And Hera's gonna lose his scouts, not really a big deal in this one. And, well, for now, we're probably waiting for ballistics over here for BadB0y. He probably wants to get Tumbling fast as well. And indeed, triple ranges, just going for a second TC. Lierey's gonna have a better eco than BadB0y, but BadB0y could have the chance to have a better army. Now, this is actually a nice move from Liereyy over here. Could actually catch BadB0y. BadB0y does have +1 armor. Liereyy has no armor, though. And BadB0y is doing the best he can, I believe. +1 armor and extra HP. Liereyy wasn't really microing that hard, but that's still a cleanup. And as I said, BadB0y losing those archers at the beginning could actually be a concern. +1, +2 for ACCM, and for Hera, same upgrades in this one. Hera is playing with 2 TCs now, and we're gonna have 3 for ACCM, 2 for BadB0y, and he still has quite a lot of archer numbers in this one, +1 armor as well. Now, this could be extremely dangerous for BadB0y if those archers break into his base there. Because his gold mine is over there, and if he has to abandon that, then he kind of has to stop producing archers. We might see a big fight over here. Heal is on the side of Liereyy, and now he has +1 armor as well. Other heal on the side of BadB0y. Oh, archer micro wars against Liereyy, that's not something that you ever want to have, right? In the meanwhile, +2 armor is coming for BadB0y. He's trying to grab every bit of advantage he can, and he's able to reinforce a little bit easier because he has the archer ranges closer, so he could temporarily get his archer numbers higher than the one from Liereyy, and that could be enough to swing the battle in their favor. Right now, ACCM and BadB0y still have better ecos than Liereyy and Hera, but Liereyy and Hera are slowly catching up. Liereyy is on 2 TCs, and the University Ballistics coming in here very soon. Other side, Hera is still on 2 TCs, but he's keeping pace with ACCM, who is on 3. So I think this is still fine. Now, Knight's trying to get a surround over here and trying to draw the attention of ACCM. And I think this is the moment that everybody has been waiting for. The hill is still on the side of BadB0y, though. Let's see what kind of fight we can take over here. +2 armor is also there for BadB0y. So this could be a fight that Vietnam wins, but there is more and more knights coming in here from Hera. And I don't think they have the numbers to win this. It kind of appears to be a draw, as both sides will probably have to withdraw from this engagement. But it wasn't a great fight for AM, neither was it for Vietnam. Great micro from Liereyy now, though. But still, he's fighting up hills against Vietnamese crossbows with +2 armor. So I would say that this is still a bit concerning for Hera's team. But Hera is doing an insane job with the knights. 57 eco, ACCM is going up to 66, but he's facing off against Slavic farming. Now, this is actually pretty bad for Liereyy over here. He's still fighting up hills, at least against a few crossbows over there. Nice micro from BadB0y. I think he's doing the best he can against a player like Liereyy. You can't really get better than this against Liereyy. And Liereyy is gonna lose his entire army here. He's down to 10. That's going to be a cleanup. And ACCM and BadB0y still have a considerable amount of army. Liereyy is down to 4. Now, Liereyy is up to 61 eco. So, the initial villager losses do not really matter now. He has gotten back on track. BadB0y is on 3 TCs, so is ACCM. Liereyy is also on 3. Hera is still on 2, I believe. Alright, so the main concern here is that ACCM and BadB0y are not really pushing. So, yeah, they're defending very nicely and their eco is good, but if you're not pushing the Vikings player, we could see Liereyy going into Imp very soon, because he just has a great eco. If you take a look at his eco, he could go up to Imperial very soon if he stopped producing villagers for a moment. And that's the other danger that you have when you're facing off against Vikings. If Vikings go to fast Imperial here and they have a few arbs, they can just melt the knights and melt the crossbows. And apparently the plan is not to pressure Liereyy, but to pressure Hera. It's probably better to pressure the cavalry player, because the archer player has a slower moving army. So, as you can see, Liereyy is not even close to helping. And in the meanwhile, though, what did just happen? ACCM! Oh boy, everything could fall apart for Vietnam. It looked good. It looked so good for them. But I just look at over here, and that is a huge amount of villagers killed. It's going to be cleaned up, but now ACCM is a pretty weak eco and Hera has caught up. Now, Hera isn't in a great spot either. I mean, that's going to be a lot of gold miners running for their lives. And once the TC is full, the knights can just start rampaging it. And it appears that ACCM is very close to cleaning this one up, whereas Hera, not so much. ACCM shouldn't focus on the stables. They have to go for the eco. I mean, Hera can rebuild the stable very fast, but Hera cannot rebuild 20-30 villagers soon. And in the meanwhile, BadB0y picks off Monk over here. BadB0y is the first player going into Imperial, and he could just march into Lierey's base over here while we're not watching. Still, it appears that ACCM is not really going to start killing villagers, which is going to mean that Hera will have a better eco than ACCM. ACCM kinda is back on track, but his eco suffered quite badly. As Liereyy is here with the reinforcements though, and this could be a little bit concerning. You don't want to lose your crossbows before getting up to Imperial if you're a BadB0y. So, you kinda have to retreat here, I would say. It's tricky, but I think this is not a fight that you want to take. This is a beautiful position, by the way, for BadB0y. He does have the hill, and Liereyy is still missing +2 armor, so this is still an acceptable fight for Vietnam. And in the meanwhile, there is also a few crossbows over here exchanging fire against Liereyy. Liereyy is also going up to Imp, though. But again, Hera's villagers are getting pressured, and now those crossbows from Liereyy could go down. Liereyy has 26 military, but that could just melt in a matter of moments thanks to these knights. And in the meanwhile, Hera's villagers here on the gold mine are dangerously exposed. He has gold mine at the back, so he should be fine for some moments. But Hera is dropping. In terms of villager count, he's down to 63. The only player below 70 is Hera right now. Liereyy and Hera combined for 17 military. And in the meanwhile, ACCM and BadB0y are pushing forward. Hera kinda has to run, abandon his food eco. And as I said, the first player to Imp is going to be BadB0y. And if I take a look at the economies, ACCM is still far from Imp, so is Hera, so we're just gonna see more and more knights coming in here. But Hera's food eco right now, 10 villagers only on food. Oh, he's just getting doubled here quite hard. Liereyy is probably going to counterattack BadB0y over here, but BadB0y is going to be the first to Imperial. Liereyy is just getting +2 armor. And in the meanwhile, oh boy, this could be awful for Hera. This could be awful for Hera. He's running for his life. Thankfully, there is an overchop over there, because now he can run away. But Hera is just gonna call it. And as I said, you might think that this is a one-sided series. You might think that the two players who were in the finals of Empire Wars Duo are just gonna clap seed number 8 over here. But that's actually game number 1 in the hands of the Vietnamese team. And I might have jinxed Hera and Liereyy here, because I said that in this tournament, so many times you have seen the weaker team grabbing Arabia. In fact, I have seen the weaker team winning Arabia more times than the stronger team. Boy oh boy. So if you take a look at the KD, BadB0y, and as I said, BadB0y is one of the most underrated players out there. Is this game live? Yes, it is. So if you just take a look at what BadB0y achieved in this game, 81 to 48 KD when you are facing off against Liereyy and Archer Micro, I gotta tip my hat on that. Because Liereyy has been playing pretty good, so did Hera. It's just BadB0y and ACCM having a slightly better game in this one. By the way, I just want to point out that ACCM had exactly 10,000 food collected. Feels good, man. That just feels good, man. Anyways, we're gonna go back to the lobby over here, and I did say that quite often we have seen the weaker team winning Arabia. But also, as Supreme Platypus is going to sub, thank you so much, Supreme Platypus, as well. He's also a mod on Hera's channel, by the way. Thank you so much for the sub. So the thing is that in the majority of the games, even though the stronger team lost Arabia, they generally won the series. So, for example, I think Dalton Slam had a series where... yeah, it was Dalton Slam, where they lost game number 1 as well. And I think also Heresy lost game number 1 to Spring and Cuspo, right? I'm not so sure on that, but regardless of that, what we have seen is that Vietnam has won game number 1. We'll probably try to address the font after this game or something. Heresy lost third map? Okay. Yeah, I also believe that Hera and Liereyy, especially if they are warmed up, are still better players than ACCM and BadB0y. But you can see that ACCM and BadB0y have the skill set to win games, maybe even take the series, but I still believe that Hera and Liereyy should be very, very dominant on their home maps. And also, I'm still not sure how ACCM and BadB0y are planning to win on Riverbelt. Anyways, Franks are gone over here, and so are Vietnamese. And indeed, right now, Vikings will have 0% win rate in the tournament. I'm just saying that. So, Hera and Liereyy have 2 home maps. Either Golden Pit or Kawasan is going to be the next home map for Hera and Liereyy. I would say Golden Pit would be pretty nice for them. Usually that's a map where you can just strike back pretty easily, and Hera and Liereyy are pretty strong on Golden Pit. So that would be my prediction for the upcoming game. Let's see, indeed, we're going into Golden Pit here. So I was right about that. Magyar Saracen Golden Pit. Magyar Saracen, I don't think Magyars are really good on Golden Pit. The thing is that you want to capitalize on your early aggressive plays, so really use the free plus to attack in early castling, and that's not something that you can do on a pre-campy map like Golden Pit. Magyars are a lot better on open maps, I would say. For Golden Pit, I could imagine something more like, yeah, Mayans or Saracens, and potentially Goths could be an idea, Teutons could be an idea. So we'll see. Teutons are a bit slow, but Hera and Liereyy doesn't really have a lot of great cavalry civs, so we might even see Goths here. Alright, the players are ready, so we will be able to get into the next game in a matter of moments. So the thing is that Golden Pit is a little bit different from Gold Rush in the aspect that it is possible for both teams to have a foothold in the middle, so both of them could have access to the gold, but this map is still about momentum, and indeed Saracens could be an interesting pick because you could go for some early feudal age pressure with them, because you can get through the walls. Otherwise, it's very, very hard to really kill a vault player on this map. So I would say that we are probably going to see a lot of fast castles. This is the only map where fast castles are indeed legitimate in Empire Wars Duo. The rest of the maps, not so much. So, I would say that Hera and Liereyy has to win this one, and they're still absolutely in this series, but BadB0y and ACCM has shown that they really are committed to winning, and I'm curious what their plan is for Golden Pit. I don't think it's a massive issue for ACCM and BadB0y to lose this map. What ACCM and BadB0y need to focus on is winning their own home maps. My concern is that I feel like ACCM and BadB0y have home maps that aren't really great for them, because both of those maps are very, very open, and on super open maps, I think that Liereyy and Hera will be more dominant. So, for this reason, I believe that it's going to be close for BadB0y and ACCM to win this series. And I'm a bit concerned that they have selected wrong home maps for themselves, because for them, more wallable maps would have been a little bit more legitimate. Anyways, they're still not playing, so I guess one of the players is either taking a bathroom break or something relatable. Again, while we're at this, we can take a look at the civs, so no one actually gets bored. I believe that GOTS is probably a civ that you have to use on Golden Pit, because it doesn't really fit anywhere else, and I don't really see Burmese being used anywhere, honestly. You could go GOTS and Burmese unused, but then again, what are going to be your cavalry civs? That's the problem right now for Hera and Liereyy. So they don't really have a lot of cavalry civs. They have Teutons, they have Magyars, and Bulgarians, basically. So it's a little bit tricky over here for Hera's team, and if they want to win this series, they need at least 3 more. Three more cavalry civs, or at least something that's comparable. Burmese and Bulgarian combo, honestly, that would be a pretty ultimate man-at-arms opening from them. I would love to see that. And it's not impossible. Tatars can be stretched as a cavalry civ, totally true. Indeed, that's really a possibility, like, for example, for Keshiks. And we are gonna have a pretty standard civilization combo over here for Hera and Liereyy in game number 2. So, we are going with ACCM and BadB0y. Berbers for ACCM in yellow. This is probably going to be for some super aggressive triple stable knight strategy. And BadB0y with Malay in red. Other side is Hera and Teutons in blue. And we're gonna have Liereyy as Saracens in green. And Liereyy has a pretty awful map, honestly. His base is just so open. Generally, your base is a lot more vulnerable, like you see for Hera. Hera actually is a pretty nice map. Pretty easy to wall off, I would say. Now, one thing I would like to point out is that BadB0y and ACCM are a lot further away from each other than Liereyy and Hera are. As Silver Luke, thank you so much for your sub as well. Again, I really appreciate it. Welcome. So, Liereyy with the Saracen market, as expected. That's basically just the way you start off with. You're probably going to sell your stone, sell your wood, and buy yourself up to Castle Age. You should be on your way to Castle Age after, I think, Villager 34 or so. In the meanwhile, ACCM is also going to do the same thing here, basically. He's gonna have a lot of wood at the back. Now, his gold mine isn't the greatest of all, and what's even worse is that his other gold mine is quite exposed here. And in the meanwhile, I think that BadB0y has some ambitious walls over here. Even worse, he does not know that this is a hole. Oh boy, Hera is already coming in here with scouts. The funny thing is that Hera also didn't think that there is a hole over here, but I think he right-clicked inside right now, and now the pathfinding is going to show that hole. And Hera could actually take revenge for those villagers picked off at the beginning. It's only 2 scouts though. The third one is just coming in, and this is the moment when BadB0y is going to realize, oh shoot, I'm in trouble here. Because even though he is going to be fully walled very soon on the left, there is actually a massive hole in the front. It's a huge mistake that he didn't actually check if that's a hole or not. That lack of scouting is going to hurt, and I think that's 2 dead villagers from BadB0y to start off with. And I don't think he's going to be here in time. He's going to be able to hit that wall, I believe, and then just close it. But there is going to be another villager going down. Hera with the scout micro, that's just an absolutely outstanding thing. And I think this is enough. Hera trying to delay this one, and look at Hera! As apparently BadB0y did just enough over here with the stone wall. Just to make sure that Those scouts can't run into his base. By the way, there is also a hole here on the right side. So BadB0y trying to wall himself, but this is not really working out for him so far. He went for very, very ambitious walls, like all the way here to the left, and it's not really working out. And as I said, look at Hera. The patience is paying off. I think this is something that we have seen in Red Bull Volo from one of the players. I don't remember who, but he isn't revealing that there is a hole over here until he has good scout numbers. He's going to wait for at least 2 more scouts, potentially a third one as well. In fact, he's going for double stable scouts, which could pay off so well. Right now, all he needs to do is just make sure he waits over here and then unleashes all the scout arenas. And yeah, this is a hole that could actually lose you the game. Now, honestly, it's not like this is the hole that decides the game, because Hera could just loop all the way around and get in over here, so BadB0y is still not walled by any means, and in the meanwhile you already have Liereyy up to Castle Age, and the BadB0y is not even close. BadB0y is getting close to clicking up, but this is the moment where Bloodline scouts will be coming in here, and unless BadB0y has some crazy quick walls, he could lose the game here immediately. Oh man, I think we're going into game number 3 with an even score here, pretty fast. BadB0y's walls were just not there, basically, and Hera's double stable opening is really paying off. It's a gamble that Hera is taking here, because if the opponent is fully walled, it's not gonna work, but Hera has played absolutely amazing here with the scout micro, denied the walls, and there is still a hole here. How are you even going to stop that many scouts with bloodlines? There's a few archers, it's actually one archer. A nice quick walls over there from BadB0y, but those scouts do have bloodlines, so they will just run past the TC over here. And that's going to be another hole. Nice micro over there from Hera, by the way, dragging away the Spearman with one scout and slaughtering villagers with the other one. And the hole is still open, so Hera can just send in scout after scout to do even more damage. BadB0y is at 36 villagers, but he still hasn't cleaned up to Castle Age. Liereyy has 35, who is up to Castle. So I mean, BadB0y's eco here is just absolutely awful. Now, the thing is that he actually sent in a few archers here, and this could work out fine for BadB0y to compensate for his losses. I don't think it's going to be completely compensating him, but at least it's something. No fletching on those archers though, so I don't think it's really going to matter that much, at least some idle time. I mean, BadB0y's eco is still absolutely awful, 33 villagers, and he's now sending out some villas to potentially wall that one in. At least he could pick off a few villagers and somewhat even the odds, but it's still going to be awfully hard. And Liereyy is just grouping up the crossbows, soon unleashing them. There is a few knights over here from ACCM though, and if he gets like 2 or 3 more, he could clean this army up. But I mean, we're still talking about scouts doing damage here to BadB0y's eco. I'm pretty sure that it's ACCM that is still just saying, okay, hold on, we can get back into this one now. Luckily, since Malay get up to the next stage faster, that's going to compensate for some villager losses, because the fact that you get up to Castle Age faster means that you're also gonna have more time to produce villagers on your TCs. In the meanwhile, we are gonna have Hera still in Feudal Age, and that is actually a little bit dangerous for him, because, yeah, sure, he has done a lot of damage to BadB0y. But BadB0y is gonna be up to Castle, he can drop additional TCs, and he can move forward a few crossbows, and then what do you have for Hera to defend with against the crossbows? You have nothing. Scouts aren't really going to defend you against crossbows. So this could still turn out to be problematic, and what I could imagine for ACCM over here is just to go to Hera's base. Hera's base is still somewhat open, and if a few knights gallop in here, they could just kill quite a lot. Oh, look at Hera getting the maximum efficiency out of those scouts. Just picks off 2 villagers that were trying to drop a TC here in the middle from ACCM. Beautiful use for those scouts from Hera. Still, it is Crossbow coming in here. I don't see Botkin for BadB0y because he's unable to afford it. The best thing that BadB0y can do right now is to kill as many villagers as he can. So both of the right-hand side players will have a bad eco. But in the meanwhile, those knights will be pretty scary, and those crossbows arrive just in time. Hera will have to run for his life here. The TC is protecting the majority of his resources, but right now Hera has 0 wood income, and without wood you're not gonna see it farms. Even more disturbing is the blob of knights coming in here. Liereyy, he still has his crossbows back at home. Now he could push towards ACCM's base. ACCM needs to drop a siege workshop to defend with this one. If he has a defensive siege workshop, I can see this one working for them, as Hera kinda has to run for his life here. And he's getting up to castle age. Once he's up to castle, he can still have his knights out, and those were pretty strong because those are Teuton knights. But in this very moment, his eco is getting disrupted quite badly as well. 20 idols in this very moment, and it appears that Liereyy is going to help out Hera. So this means that ACCM is not gonna die, and this is the moment where Hera is trying to jump inside, jump outside of the TC. Look at Hera's micro here. That's crazy. He cannot fit all the villagers inside the TC, so what he's doing is jumping in and out, so the knights cannot hit his villagers, and he's doing it so well. But Hera has 37 villagers, the same amount as BadB0y, and Hera also has 25 idols here. Now, Lierey's crossbows arrive over here, but I think this is a fight that ACCM could potentially take. And in the meanwhile, oh, look at BadB0y. Look at BadB0y, he's gonna find a few more villagers, and I think the damage is already being done here on Hera quite massively. So, sure, this army might get cleaned up, but what is Hera going to be left with here? BadB0y's eco is pretty messy as well, in fact his eco is borderline awful. But Hera also lost quite a lot, more and more knights coming in here for Hera. But if these knights can take an open field fight against Liereyy here, that could also be pretty nice, and they could sandwich these crossbows. They could really sandwich these crossbows. There is some more knights on the other side. I'm not sure why ACCM is not committing to this one, it's a trap! It's a trap from Hera.
It's a trap.
Oh man, that was awful from ACCM. They could have just committed to fighting this one. You had the crossbows over here. This is not even a super narrow choke point. You had knights in here. You had knights on the outside. You could have actually... Oh! Liereyy! No way! How is this possible for Liereyy? Is ACCM going to find this hole in the north? There's actually Wolf Foundation here. I think the Wolf killed the villager here. I'm pretty sure it did. And ACCM could just walk in here. Meanwhile, this Wolf is casually chilling over here. Don't ask me what he's doing. Oh, this game is getting so massive. Liereyy still has a great force of crossbows, and that could be extremely dangerous. And it appears that ACCM is not going to find the hole in the north, and Liereyy is going to be able to fix that. If ACCM just clicks right clicks inside the base of Liereyy, he could have actually run inside. Meanwhile, some knights coming in here for Hera, and the extra melee armor for Teutons really helps out here for him. And it appears that ballistics will be the play for BadB0y. He's playing this only with 1 TC, slowly getting back into the game, but he's still very far. And if you take a look at Liereyy, Liereyy could still carry this one. He has 51 eco and a great army. The concern is that in the meanwhile, ACCM also is playing with 2 town centers now free in the middle, and he has 63 villagers. Liereyy going very defensive over here. Hera will have the chance to reboom because it's Teuton farming, and he could drop the next DC right now. And honestly, Hera is still in this one. Liereyy is up to Imp. I completely forgot about this one, but oh, he could lose his army right in this moment. This is awful for Liereyy. This is why he was playing so defensive, because he was going Imp. But what does Imp matter if you're just gonna lose your entire army right before that? That's possibly the worst scenario that could have happened to Liereyy. Look at that. Just when Arbalest and Bracer hits, he's gonna be left with 1 Arb crossbow. Liereyy is still at 11 military, so he has some Arbs somewhere over here in the middle, but he lost his entire army just before Imp. Oh, that was so unfortunate for Liereyy. And now, crossbows are within his eco. He still has a few Arbs, but the mobility of the Knights could just help to pick off a few villagers. In the meanwhile, on the right side, there is quite a lot of crossbows as a TC is coming in here from BadB0y. Ali Archer is going to resub as well. Thank you so much, Ali Archer, for the resub. Welcome back. In the meanwhile, this is going to be a fight lost, but I think this is still worth it for ACCM because they managed to kill the army of Liereyy. And I mean, Liereyy doesn't really have any safe gold income right now, just sending villagers over here to mine gold, and knights are just bashing down those wheels. Castle in the middle from ACCM, as this TC could easily be denied. The crossbows are mispositioned for BadB0y, but it appears Hera is going for the villagers on the castle. So prepare for a doubt castle over here, and Liereyy is also going for a castle in the middle, which means that he can just trap this one down very easily. This is still close, because Liereyy with Imp could easily win the game himself, and Hera is slowly booming back in this game, but Liereyy, again, has basically no eco. Look at that, 1 villager on wood, 5 on food, 3 on gold, and there is more knights coming in, and Arbs will melt knights, but not if you don't have the numbers with the Arbalests. And ACCM's eco is pretty solid over here. He could just overrun Liereyy with cheaper knights. That's going to be a few villagers picked off on the castle. And in the end, the castle goes up, but what is Liereyy going to be left with? Look at Lierey's eco. He has 11 villagers working, now he has 12 on stone. Liereyy needs a TC in the middle because he has a good foothold over here that cannot really be raided, and he's Saracens. Liereyy needs to buy himself gold, or buy himself resources from the gold he mines over here, and he can still go back into this game. Because his eco back at home is very, very messy and they're just getting raided to death, so you kind of have to exploit the Saracen market over here and just kind of boom in the middle here, and get a trap out, start trapping this castle down and secure a foothold. That's the best you can do if you are Liereyy. Now that's a lot of knights over there, but only having +1 armor, and they're also kind of slow because they are Teuton knights, so this could be an acceptable fight for BadB0y. Some of those knights have low HPs, but Hera should still clean this one up. Oh boy, indeed, Hera's gonna clean this one up, and Arbalests are now coming for Liereyy in quite huge quantities. He just needs like a trap here to start taking this one down, and then ACCM's gold income could be in danger, but that's a lot of knights still. And Lierey's just unable to mass archers here. He's down to 29 villagers. Oh boy. Now, Hera still has quite a lot, and if Hera can break into BadB0y's base, things could get even. But if you look at the ecos, Hera is at 64, Liereyy has 29, BadB0y is at 60, and ACCM is at 80, and he's now adding camels because he realizes that the only threat that they are facing right now is knights from Hera. Meanwhile, Siege Workshop on the way for Battering Rams. I think they want to focus and finish this game off in Castle Age. They don't really want to go into Imperial. Liereyy unable to produce villagers because doesn't have the food income to do so. But he can trap this one down, and he can potentially use these arbs to push off ACCM and BadB0y from the middle. Especially if Hera is slinging. In fact, one thing that Hera could do is sling Liereyy into more arbs. Because they don't need a lot. They just need to trap this one down, and you just need a few Saracen arbs to clean this one up. If Hera can sling Liereyy into decent amounts of arbs, like let's say 20 arbs, then those arbs will just clean up the villagers here and clean up the TCs as well. So this is not lost for AM, but it's not looking great because Hera is also dropping in military, and then he will have to run for his life. The castle is still standing, Reapers are on the way, but as I said, Hera just needs to sling Liereyy. Yes, slinging is allowed in the entire game, so Hera can sling Liereyy. I'm not sure if he did, we could actually check out the stats. But there is so many things happening, and as I said, you don't need eco with Saracens, you just need someone to sling you, and since everybody else is in Castle Age, you could just push forward and kill every army. If you have like 30 Imperial Age arbs, you can just melt any Castle Age army. Knights, crossbows included. And Liereyy with 30 army, he could still do this. He has 3 traps, and he's killing quite a lot of villagers. Look at that. The castle is gonna go down, the Saracen arbs will melt the TC, and what can ACCM do against this one right now? Nothing. Once he's up to Imp, he can go Cavalier, and then Liereyy is dead. This only works if your opponent is in Castle Age, because then you can capitalize on having fewer amount, but better units. In Imp against +4 Cavalier, this is not going to be enough, but this is still a way for AM back into this game. And as I said, Liereyy is now back to adding more and more archers, still producing on free TCs with villagers, so he's slowly catching up, but that takes quite a lot of time. In the meanwhile, Vietnam is focusing on taking down the stables, which is something I still don't understand, because the problem here is that, as you see, Hera is rebuilding those basically instantly. And in the meanwhile, another castle comes in here for ACCM. Traps are being set up, and Liereyy could push off BadB0y and ACCM from the middle in this one. I have a feeling that AM now has momentum. Because if they force off BadB0y and ACCM from the gold in the middle, suddenly ACCM will not be able to afford the upgrades and the knight numbers. And in the meanwhile, Hera is also getting quite a lot of knights in here, which could clean this army up. TC goes down, and let's see what ACCM can do. He's gonna go Cavalier, and he buys himself some more time, but I mean, traps can just melt these TCs, and Liereyy with 33 eco, he could do this. In the meanwhile, ACCM and BadB0y are doing some damage to Hera, but this is by far not enough. I mean, Hera is still able to mess the knights, Hera still has a good eco, in fact, he has a better eco than ACCM now. But Hera is still in Castle Age, and ACCM is going to be in Imperial. But look at Liereyy. He just forced off the opponent from the gold, but as you are saying on the chat, you just need like 20 Cavaliers with +4, and this is cleaned up. And This is everything that Liereyy has. If you lose this one, then you are potentially out of the game. Now Hera's gonna unleash the Knights, and guess what? ACCM is going to lose quite a lot of numbers. ACCM is down to 24 military, and that's going to fall away. Fall away? No. Just fade away in this one. And 2 turns with the extra armor. That's also a nice advantage. Look at that. ACCM is at 30 military. Now here come the Cavaliers, and as I said, you just need one good blob of Cavaliers. And I think they will just sacrifice some crossbows, knowing that the opponent doesn't really have a lot of arbs to play with. But in the meanwhile, ACCM is losing some villagers. Are they going to try and trap these arbs in here? I don't think these Cavalier numbers are enough, though. I don't think this is enough. Liereyy is doing an excellent job with the micro. I think some additional Cavaliers would have been a little bit more helpful. And Hera is also coming in here with the Knights. I think that the arbs will survive. And remember that right now, ACCM is not really going to have a lot of gold income if these TCs are denied. Indeed, Cavaliers are going to melt, and Liereyy still is holding. Oh man. Oh man, and that's going to be a TC from Doubt over here. That's not gonna go up, and the only team right now that has a legitimate control over the middle is AM. Look at Hera booming with like 10 million TCs, and as I said, if he just slings a bit of her resources to Liereyy, Liereyy can keep up with the art production. And the funny thing about Golden Pit is that you don't necessarily have to have the ultimate advantage or ultimate military advantage. You just need to be able to force your opponent off from gold at some point. And indeed, in the meanwhile, BadB0y is retreating back home. He was mining stone over here, and ACCM going for a castle on the outside now. Boy oh boy, that's a lot of arbs from Liereyy, despite the fact that he's still at 34 villagers. He's just committing to this one. Castle is going to be cancelled, and really the 2-turn bonus helps out quite a bit here for Hera. He has a lot of knights queued up. In fact, if Hera cancelled these knights, Hera could go imp, and Hera has better numbers. And in the meanwhile, if you take a look at the BadB0y, BadB0y has no more gold. BadB0y is not producing anything. No gold for BadB0y, no military production, not even close to imp. Liereyy is at least in imp, so he can produce a few arbs. This is going to be an insane comeback from AM. Because right now, yeah, these arbs will get traded off. I think what's gonna matter is that Hera is going to be fully boomed very soon. And I think if he just looks at his resources, he will probably click up at some point. Another castle here could be denied from ACCM. And indeed, that's going to be the case. ACCM is not gonna have any gold income. He still has 15 on gold mining this one. But 2-turn Knights also hold out a little bit longer against the Cavalier because they have the extra melee armor. In fact, if you compare the two units, ACCM has 12 plus 2 attack and 2 plus 3 melee armor. Hera, 10 plus 2, 2 plus 3. So it's only the attack that's a little bit different on those Knights and the HP. So those Knights aren't as bad as you would think they are. And, well, Hera has a massive amount of gold income over here. I think he's just focused on microing and expanding his eco, but he's now up to 118 villagers, and ACCM's team still doesn't have a foothold over the middle. That's crazy. That's just crazy. A few Cavaliers running in here, but Hera can hold against this one. Hera is producing villagers on 5 TCs. He will click up at some time, I can assure you, but he's probably just way too focused on fighting this one, and really credits to Liereyy. Liereyy is actually doing an insane job considering that he has 36 villagers playing. Is there time limit for games in this tournament? Nope. The games go until someone resigns. And ACCM is going to gallop into Lierey's base, hoping that he can kill his eco, but Liereyy is going to be like, I don't have an eco, so go ahead. There is nothing to kill here. Well, actually there's a few lumberjacks. Blue Strawberry, thanks for the prime sub. Thank you so much as well. I really appreciate your support as well. So yeah, these TCs are gonna go down, but Liereyy lost like 2 villagers. It's not like it's going to hurt his eco, because it doesn't have anyways. So, yeah, can't lose your eco if you don't have eco, that's the truth, indeed. Hera is still not up to imp, but he could click up now. And look at Liereyy. Really crates to Liereyy, and I don't know what BadB0y is doing. BadB0y is not even making skirms. I think BadB0y might be just slinging ACCM here into Cavalier. That's the only reasonable explanation here. Otherwise, you wouldn't really be just idling all your military production. So I think that ACCM is being slung by BadB0y, and probably Hera is sending some resources to Liereyy, and Liereyy is able to keep up with the archer production. And those blob of archers is actually pretty scary. And that's the GG over here. BadB0y's just gonna call it. I'm not sure what caused them to call it right now, but they probably figured out that, I mean, look at these numbers. And they know exactly that that's the only army that ACCM has. And ACCM, yeah, this is what caused the GG. ACCM is running out of gold here. And sick comeback from AM, I have to say. Hera has reboomed pretty nicely, but I would say that Liereyy is still the MVP of this one, because 34 Voyagers and he was still able to push off the opponent from the middle with the arms he had. He didn't have a lot of army, but he used that to perfection. So Lierey's move here to destroy the castle and the TCs was crucial. So he went all in with the Arbs, probably got a little bit of resources as well from Hera. Hera did a nice job rebooming though. So these could have been Cavalier a long time ago if you take a look at Hera's resources. Hera could have clicked up a long time ago and then these would be Cavalier or even Paladin by now. And then ACCM just dies. Great plays from AM and they will even the series over here. So yeah, let's see the resources. Apparently, there was no slinging. There was no slinging on AM. Really, I just tip my hat to Liereyy here. Just think about this. Liereyy had 33 Voyagers, and he was still able to mass those Arbs, push off the opponent from the middle, without receiving a single bit of a resource. This is huge. In the meanwhile, BadB0y was indeed slinging ACCM into Cavalier, but that wasn't enough. It could have been enough if they run into Hera's eco and then try to kill it that way, but I feel like without gold that's just insanely hard to do, and they control the middle. AM is back in this one. Did Heartt play in the first game? Nope. Are there slinging rules? Any slinging is allowed, so you can sling whatever you want, whenever you want. There is absolutely no restrictions on slinging in this game, or at least in this tournament. So, yep. That's actually a nice thing, because if you have slinging rules, then you just kind of have to make players follow them. If you don't have any slinging rules here, you know, you don't really have to get any admin decisions based on that. There is just no way that someone can break a slinging rule if there is no slinging rules, right? Gods will be OP with slinging. The maps are very, very open, so you can't really sling gods for long. That's the thing, though. So, sure you can sling, but Golden Pit is potentially the only map that's vulnerable enough so that you can legitimately sling. Other maps are so open that if you just go and sling a godly player, you're just gonna both die to early aggression. Anyways, I'm gonna take a quick look at the Civ draft. So, now it's ACCM's home map, or ACCM and BadB0y's home map, either River Belt or Cape of Storms, and this is where I'm really curious what ACCM and BadB0y are planning for River Belt. Are you allowed to sling? Yes, you're allowed, Hera. You can sling whatever you want. So there is no slinging rules. Any slinging is allowed. Oh, so now I understand. Now I understand why they weren't slinging. Still, at least they know it for the rest of the games, right? So you can sling whatever you want, whenever you want. Alright, so looking at the civs here. We have Saracens gone. And on the other side, we have Teutons gone. ACCM has lost Berbers. And they have lost Malay. Okay, so we have Cape of Storms available. If you have Cape of Storms, Persian's Pocket, and potentially Japanese flank could be legitimate. Technically, you can go Japanese Pocket. That's something that Team Secret, or well, the former Secret players love to do. Like, I think Viper booming in the pocket on Cape of Storms with Japanese is crazy. We have seen Kumins on Cape of Storms, but I'm not a fan of that. If we are going into River Belt, then Incas could be a solution. And maybe Huns? It's tough to call. Other side, for River Belt, it's a no-brainer. It's Magyars plus, well, any archer civ. Not necessarily Mayans. Maybe Magyars Italians is a solid combo because on River Belt you have a lot of fishing possibilities. So I guess Italians can be used as a decent archer civ over there. Then you have Mongols left for Cape of Storms alongside potentially Bulgarians. Maybe. And then you still have Goths available for a pocket. That's what I'm thinking, at least in this one. Still, Hera's team is a bit low on cavalry civs, so they might need to use something else as a replacement. I wonder what their idea is going to be with this one. I think that Goths could definitely be used. So that's potentially one of your saves, but I thought that Goths would be used on Golden Pit because that's by far the most vulnerable. Other option would be Goths Cape of Storms, which is a possibility because the map is very, very open. But I'm not sure how well you can boom up into Huskars. So that's a question mark over there for me. Well, I guess we'll soon find out. Indeed, I'm seeing the Miguel champion emotes on the chat. Indeed, one way to deal with the Huskars is with champions. So, Miguel, send me your champions, as the song would say. Could you show the draft a bit more? Sure, I'm just making sure that everything is right in the lobby here. But they haven't started yet, so we can actually take a look at the draft. That draft link I think is outdated. I am pretty sure it is. So, let's get over here. This is what we have left. There is going to be 2 extra civilizations, so you don't have to use everything. If I had to predict, Burmese will be left out of the party. Or maybe you can go Burmese as well. I mean, Burmese cavalry is acceptable. But Goths would be great, I think. I think Goths would be very, very underrated as a civilization, and it could really be used on Cape of Storms. The map is so open that you can just flood Huskars starting from early Castle Age, and it's almost impossible to stop it, because the map is so open that it's impossible to wall, and your champions or longswords are just slow. So you could go for early aggression Goths, I think, on Cape of Storms. River Belt, I don't think it's really a possibility. I don't think it's a good civ there. And Kawasan would be the final map. I don't think it's great for Kawasan either because there's like narrow choke points, vulnerable map. I think if you want to use Goths, then Cape of Storms is the map to do so. Alright. Let's see what's up over here. Alright, we're going to Cape of Storms. So I'm really curious at the civ selections right now. ACCM is the host. They will be sticking with yellow and red. By the way, it is important to point out that Cape of Storms is a color-coded map, which means that you can select if you play on the flank or on the pocket. And it's one of the rare maps in 2v2 where you actually have a flank player and the pocket player. So this is going to be interesting to take a look at. Liereyy is also in the lobby, so I guess they are starting in a matter of moments. Well, why do you need the score command, Hectornus, when it's right on the screen, you know? Alright, so as I said, the winner of this series is going to match up against either Doubt and Slam or Miguel Dogao and Lan. So either Heresy or Miguel Dogao and Lan will be the opponents for the winner of this series. Posting Goths now? It's not impossible, but I think that you're just gonna die if you're going full slaying Goths. So I don't think it's going to happen. But I would love to see Hera and Liereyy using Goths. I totally agree with Goths pick, especially considering they're low on cavalry civilizations. Alright. So we're just waiting for Liereyy and Hera, and of course ACCM's team, to get ready. And we will be jumping into game number 3 over here. Liereyy apparently disconnected the lobby, which means that he might actually have trouble downloading the map. It happens in AoE 2 lobbies or DE lobbies, so I hope that it's going to be fixed very soon. And then we are going to go into game number 3. So the other side of the brackets, we still have Viper's team there. We still have, well, Viper, Tato, and Jordan. We have and Nikov still in the party. And we also have Arwar in the party. That's something that we haven't talked about a lot. Arwar, Rulers of Rome, is still in the tournament. They actually defeated back the Say My Name and Kaposh. Kaposh didn't play in that series, but Ganji and Kamigawa defeated Bhakti and Say My Name. So they are going to be the team fighting against MBL Nikov and not the Vietnamese team. Which is, I think, one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. And yeah, poor Kaposh. He didn't play a single game in the tournament, and he's out. Alright everyone, so welcome to Cape of Storms, one of those maps where you actually have a pocket player on the right side, ACCM in yellow as Persians, and on the flank we are going to have Japanese for BadB0y in red, pretty standard setup over here for the Vietnamese team, and we'll have Mayans for Hera in blue, just generally a good civ, and Magyars for Liereyy. I'm surprised that the Magyars pick over here, because I don't know what they are going to be left with for River Belt. So, Magyars and Mayans are a pretty strong combo in general, but on the other hand, you're gonna have a greater eco for Persians and Japanese, and I also believe that Tatars would have been a little bit more legitimate as civilization for Cape of Storms. Other thing, they had Mongols available. They have Mongols available when there is elephants and a bunch of huntables for each player. I'm definitely surprised that Liereyy and Hera are not picking Mongols here. I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily your traditional archer civilization, but there is so much huntables here that I think Mongols is extremely strong on this map. And let's see if we're gonna have any docks here from either side. Apparently not. We will have a wall-off from BadB0y on the right side, but both of his goals are on the front, which is going to make his life a little bit harder. Archer opening here from both sides. BadB0y already marching forward with his own archers, and he's going to pick off the eagle from Hera over here. Good start from BadB0y, trying to deal as much damage as to that archer as he can. Fletching is on the way for Hera though. In the meanwhile, we're gonna have ACCM coming in here for some hunt, but he's not milling the huntables, which is going to cause quite a lot of kind of inefficient walking time, I would say. Meanwhile, in the middle, we have Liereyy arriving at the Magyar scouts. Now, Persian scouts will be inferior to Magyar scouts, but in the long run, Persians will have a greater eco, but the cheaper and stronger Magyar scouts will actually have a great effect at the beginning over here. So this is the moment where Liereyy wants to do damage, and I think this is the first game when it is Liereyy who is playing the role of the cavalry civilization, and it is Hera who is playing the archer civ. Anyways, that is going to be 2 villagers that, if I'm not mistaken, great start from Liereyy and Hera. In this one, the villagers both survive, but still, this could be one villager that, these could be one villagers that, and as I said, this map is very hard to wall and relies so much on quick walls that I don't think this was a great home map selection by any means for the Vietnamese team. We're gonna have these archers cleaned up, but the scouts are still doing damage over here, and the free foraging is really kicking in there. In fact, Liereyy is gonna go for early scaleboarding, and that's gonna mean that he's gonna have a +1/+1 on those scouts against no upgrades from ACCM. In fact, Liereyy is gonna go for bloodlines as well. This is going to be full feudal age commitment over here. Potentially even double stable scouts, indeed. Double stable scouts with bloodlines and +1. I think this is going to be a massive advantage at the beginning, and this could eventually kill Vietnam, because their scouts are way weaker. Finally, ACCM has the extra attack, but by the time he has it, he's facing off against scouts that also have extra armor, and, well, BadB0y is already in trouble here, down to 35 villagers. ACCM is having a great time over here though. He's going for a decent fish boom, and he could be close to clicking up to Castle Age, but he isn't, and that's surprising to me. I mean, Liereyy is going for double stable scouts with bloodlines and +1 armor, whereas ACCM is going for no bloodlines, no +1 armor, and he's still not even close to clicking up to Castle Age, whereas While Liereyy is pressuring BadB0y over here and forcing both Vietnamese players to defend, Hera is gonna go straight towards Castle Age here, sold his stone to do so, so this is going to be a very aggressive commitment to Castle Age. That is a misclick over there from BadB0y, killed the Ostrich instead of the Archer, and now the Voyagers will have to abandon the Ostriches. Liereyy is doing a great job sniping the skirmishers with his scouts, and those have +1/+1 bloodlines. Look at ACCM, he's not even close to bloodlines in this one. Getting scareboarding just now, and ACCM and BadB0y seem to be on the back foot in this one. ACCM's Fishing Eco in the long run is going to kick in, but I think this is a little bit greedy play from him. Because this is kind of like, okay, I will let my teammate die here, and I'm just gonna boom in the pocket. And in the meanwhile, what Liereyy is doing is, okay, let's go all in Feudal Age, and in fact he's going to triple stable scout, so I think Light Cav upgrade could actually be worth it here for Liereyy. Defensive tower on the way for ACCM, but I don't think this is gonna go up in time. Tries to rush it up, but it's gonna go up, but few Voyagers will die here, so all the eco advantage for ACCM is gonna go away. And finally, you are gonna have the scouts with bloodlines, but by the time that happens, I think that Liereyy is gonna have better numbers over here, and they're just absolutely tearing apart ACCM's eco. This map is very, very open, and I was surprised in the first place that Vietnam has chosen this as their home map, and my concerns apparently are justified over here. Hera and Liereyy are just tearing apart Vietnam over here on this very, very open map. Look at this. It's just an absolute slaughter, and ACCM is just gonna call it in an 8-minute game. AM strikes back, Liereyy with 25 kills, 11 deaths, Hera 13 kills, 5 deaths. This map is just way too open, and this was my concern with the Vietnamese team. I just don't see their game plan for this game, or for the next game either. Because Liereyy and Hera are just so much better on open maps like this. Now, I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, BadB0y is gonna call it as well. There might have been a bit of a miscommunication between the Vietnamese team and ACCM. Because, yeah, BadB0y might have not realized that ACCM already resigned. But it didn't really matter anyways. So, guess what? We're gonna have a very, very quick game number 3 over here. And now AM is in the driver's seat. And as I said, the thing is that so many times in this tournament, we have seen that the weaker team wins Arabia. And then on the other maps, they just lose. So apparently, Arabia is not the strongest map for the strong teams in this tournament so far. Isn't BadB0y from Argentina? Nope. He's actually from Vietnam. He has an Argentina key or like handle on AOE2.net, but he's actually Vietnamese. So yeah, look at that. Only player to go up into Castle Age was Hera. Full feudal pressure from Liereyy and Hera. And that just paid off. And indeed, I believe that going for the fish boom here was a little bit greedy. It pays off in the end, but especially when you are against Magyars that have a great early feudal age opening, it was just great. It wasn't just BadB0y getting spanked by Hera. It was basically Liereyy always having better scouts than ACCM did. Because Liereyy started the extra forging and just went for full scouts pressure. I'm pretty sure that he also went for the huntables, and since they were able to pressure ACCM's eco, ACCM wasn't really able to get his own scouts out though. Yeah, exactly. Magyars have great power spikes in early feudal and castle, and that's exactly what Liereyy exploited. So I would say that the concern for Vietnam was that they just went for the fish boom, but that's not something that you want to go for if your opponent has a great early feudal age, because you're just getting overrun by better military. It would have been even close if ACCM goes for a more aggressive strategy. But still, there is River Belt to come back in this one. But if you have seen crazy maps, then you are going to love River Belt. And this is probably the most confusing home map selection for Vietnam. I'm not sure what their plan is over here. We are gonna go into the Civ selection. I have one idea. So let's see, Persians are gone. and the Japanese are gone. On the other side, Magyars are gone, and the Mayans are gone. So what's left for Hera and Liereyy here? I would say that this is the moment where you go for Bulgarians. The thing is that River Belt is extremely aggressive. You will probably fight from the first second, so having the free man-at-arms upgrade is great because you can actually start with man-at-arms. That could be a great selection over here. Potentially Italians would be the other one, or maybe Burmese for scouts. Burmese are actually pretty solid with their scouts because you don't have to invest into the double bit axe upgrade, which means that you are actually better at popping out scouts at the beginning. It's not really a big boost, but it's something. Other side, I can imagine Incas being used here. Potentially Incas and Huns could be great. Khmer would have been wonderful because you can jump into houses. Huns, Indians, I don't think you actually get into Castle Age on this map unless some extraordinary thing happens. So I don't think Indians really worth it here because you're just not gonna get to camels. I can understand Huns, I can understand Byzantines. Byzantines Incas could also be something I can imagine. Because as you're going to see, the players will basically spawn right next to each other. So it's going to be super aggressive. In fact, all I can say is that I think there was one time when we have seen this map being played, and in that we have seen the two opponents placing their archer ranges right next to each other. They are so close. It's somewhat relatable and somewhat similar to like Land Madness in terms of playstyle. So it's a very, very open map, recovers a lot of like scout micro and stuff like that, but it's even more aggressive at the beginning. No, it's not African Waters. This is going to be called River Belt. It's a new map made by Krazini, and I can tell you it is sick and crazy. So you might think Enemy Archipelago is the crazy map in the map pool, but apparently it's not. It's River Belt. Meanwhile, Dave Van Allen, continuing the sub that Nathanol gifted. Thank you so much, Dave, for your support, and of course, thanks Nathanol for gifting that sub before. It is really appreciated, as Kiwi is just spamming pyramids over here. Krazini is the MVP of the map. Yeah, honestly, if you want great maps for a tournament, then Krazini is a very, very good person to start with, I would say. So, also, by the way, Krazini loves to create chaotic maps. Something that you should know. So, basically, this map was created by Krazini based on his own idea. It wasn't me telling him to, hey, do this map or this map type. He just said, okay, he has an idea, and we will see if I like it or not, and I kind of liked it. And apparently some players like it as well. We will see if Hera and Liereyy will like it, but this is very aggressive, and for this reason I think that they would love it. We will see if that's going to be the case. We're jumping into game number 4 over here. And it's ACCM and BadB0y tournament life on the line. AM is leading 2-1 after losing Arabia. And let's see what we have over here. As you can see, this is River Belt. We have ACCM and BadB0y on the left side of the map in yellow and red. Right side is Hera and Liereyy. And honestly, this is even one of the more passive generations on this map. And we're gonna have Bulgarians indeed. As I thought, you can just open right away here. Sometimes you're even closer to each other. In this case, this is a little bit more passive as a map. So this gives a little bit more freedom for like expanding your eco. But that is Liereyy already coming in here to stop the stable, and Bulgarians can be insanely strong over here, or they're coming in with the man-at-arms. In this one, other side, Hera is playing Tatars, which is a solid archer civ, and accompanied by Bulgarians on a map like this is perfectly fine. Scouts will pop out, but man-at-arms trade quite well against the scouts, and if you don't have archers, the man-at-arms can do a lot of damage. Now Liereyy is gonna lose his scout and also gonna lose at least one man-at-arms over here. Right side, we have a scout from Hera. Get some Hera snipes in the chat, because that's going to be one. ACCM loses a Voyager, and that's actually BadB0y. BadB0y is going to lose the wheel. He's playing standard archers here with Incas. I understand the Incas pick because, well, honestly, with Incas, you can just keep your Voyagers a little bit safer on this map, and this is going to be a concern for ACCM. He needs to protect that stable, but since there is Spearman here as well, Liereyy can just bash it down, so It has to be as Hera gets another snipe. Look at Hera. The perfect use of that scout. Not losing the scout, yet gets 2 Voyager kills. Now the problem here is that BadB0y is fighting Hera on the right side, and in a meanwhile, we are going to see ACCM losing that stable. I'm pretty sure he popped out his scouts. Let's see if Liereyy is gonna have the quick calls up. Apparently he will. And this map should favor Hera and Liereyy because, as I said, this is based on quick calls so heavily, and it appears that ACCM is just gonna give up on that stable. He's gonna say, okay, fine, I just don't care about my stable. But Liereyy seems to be completely safe over here with Spearman. I think the best thing they can do is go for Hera. Hera also has some Spearmen around, but you could potentially get some damage done with 6 scouts over here. Man-at-Arms, they could do some damage, and let's see if we are gonna see some long walls. I'm not sure what these are meant to do here. Anyways, Scout Arena is coming in here. Let's see if Hera's gonna lose some Villagers. This is the moment where ACCM has to do damage, because they're behind. Nice quick walls by ACCM over here, and those Man-at-Arms are actually taking quite a lot of damage. You could trap these guys. ACCM could trap these guys in here, and that will be fine. And don't open the gate! Don't open the gate! Oh man, I knew it. I knew that this was gonna happen. That you just finish the gate and it opens. Oh man, now the thing is that you're close to the TCs, so I don't think you're gonna lose a lot of vills, but say goodbye to your berries. We have a pause, by the way. On the right side, the scouts running around so far didn't kill a single Voyager from Hera. BadB0y and Hera are massively different in their military numbers. BadB0y is quite outnumbered, and that's going to be 1 Voyager killed. And there is nothing that ACCM can do right now. He has to rebuild his stable because he lost it on the front line, and those Man-at-Arms are still ravaging his eco. This tower should be able to keep them away though, so at least it could be fine. And there's a few skirms out here. Now honestly, Liereyy will need to start adding scouts because right now BadB0y can just go full skirm and do damage here to Hera. Those scouts still not really influential. But ACCM is not in a great spot. Lost his berries. There is another Voyager going out. Okay. You just want to lock that gate in here as much as possible. I like Lierey's choice here to kind of destroy the mill, or at least attempt to do so. Finally, the archers arrive to clean this one up, and this should mean that this aggression is gone. But now Liereyy can start adding scouts, and if you take a look at ACCM's eco, this isn't super shiny right now. In the meanwhile, we have a archers coming in here from Hera, +1 armor. BadB0y is trying to compensate with skirms here, but it's not really working. He needs more skirms. He needs a lot more skirms in this one, or they need ACCM scouts to fight this one, because right now BadB0y could lose Voyagers. He does not have the extra armor on those Voyagers, so it's not like this is a good fight. This is not a good fight by any means, and Hera is going to snipe the weak Voyager. Nice move from him. They need these scouts over here. They have +1 armor, so they should be able to clean this one up though. And in this moment, Hera will probably just try to snipe 1 more Voyager. Well, the scouts are dying slowly over here, so this wasn't a great fight for Vietnam either. And you already have scouts coming in from Liereyy. Defensive Spearmen on the way from ACCM for the time being, and honestly, ACCM is getting close to quick up to Castle Age, whereas Liereyy isn't. So that could actually change things here. And Hera's archers are also cleaned up. If ACCM can get up to Castle Age here and start popping out some knights, things could get a little bit more problematic for AM. Because in such an open map, a few knights could deal an awful lot of damage. Apparently the knights will just gallop past the TC, but there's a spearman over here as well. I don't think these scouts should be able to do a lot of damage. The Brazilian game is not today. I am pretty sure. But if you type !schedule, you can see all the games that are confirmed already. So... anyways, in the meanwhile, we still have archers breaking in here. Defensive tower coming up from BadB0y, but it's a little bit too late. Castle Age also on the way for Hera, so he's gonna have crossbows in this one. Liereyy gallops by the TC. +1/+1 and bloodlines on those scouts. ACCM doesn't have bloodlines, but he's going into Castle Age, and it appears that they're gonna focus on BadB0y again. They will just commit to the feudal age pressure, and as I said, in order to really get a good use of the Castle Age, ACCM and BadB0y need to survive until ACCM reaches Castle Age here, and I'm not sure if that's gonna happen. Right now, that's a lot of scouts, and even though BadB0y hasn't lost a huge amount of villagers, right now he basically has no gold income, and there is scouts bashing down his tower here. More skirms are coming in. And at least some of those scouts are weak, so you could potentially kill them relatively easily here. And Liereyy is not going up to Castle Age. This could still work for BadB0y. He needs a good micro in this one. Repairs the tower, and if he can finish off the archers, he can just add a few spears to deal with this one. I think BadB0y is defending quite nicely over here. If he finishes off the archers, I think he's fine. And Liereyy is not going up to Castle Age over here, which means that there is going to be no knights. Soon Liereyy is going to click up, but that's going to be a nice opportunity for ACCM to start unleashing knights. And in the meanwhile, I think Elite Skirm could be a decision here from BadB0y against the archers, because he's massively outnumbered in archer numbers. So he's not going to catch up in archer numbers, he kind of needs to go for skirms. In the meanwhile, those archers could actually find a few villagers to pick off, but skirms are here to defend, and it appears that BadB0y is adding more archers, so he wants to catch up in archer numbers. And here it is, +2 armor and scale barding. Apparently Liereyy might be the target of this pressure, as this could still be a good fight for BadB0y over here. Hera wants to wait until he gets his crossbow upgrades done, but even then, with some nice micro, BadB0y could take this fight. Let's see, he's trying to keep the distance. Nice micro so far from Hera as well. We have Botkin coming in from BadB0y. I think this is a fine fight for him. Not ideal, but given the circumstances, this is going to be alright. Now, this is a concern here though, because ACCM, forced to clean this one up, means that ACCM is not pressuring the base of Liereyy or Hera. And I think that the win condition for Liereyy and Hera here was, or for ACCM and BadB0y, here was to go for the eco of Liereyy and Hera here fast, while they have the knights and AM does not, right? Meanwhile, apparently a few more villagers could die here. Yep, that's one more villager picked off with the final archer. And right now, Hera still has decent archer numbers. I think that ACCM needs to do a lot of damage to Liereyy very soon over here, because it's triple stable knights. If ACCM just looks at the stable numbers, and indeed free tumbling really helps the Tatars over here in this one, then he should know that Liereyy is also on his way towards Castle Age. Nice quick walls from Liereyy, and that's a lot of spears. I don't think they can do a lot of damage here to Liereyy, even though those knights could theoretically take this fight, but I don't think it's really worth it. They're just unable to push. They have the Castle Age advantage, but Lierey's defense here is absolutely stellar, and as I said, they can take this fight, but it's not going to be very cost efficient. They're still able to win it, and I think there is still a hole towards Lierey's gold mine. Lierey's food eco could be exposed. He does have quite a lot of food in the bank, so he can pop out a few knights to clean this one up though, and that really matters right now. In the meanwhile, we're gonna have crossbows from Hera, +2 armor there. BadB0y doesn't have +2 armor, and BadB0y doesn't have tumbling either, so he's gonna have to go for the mangonel defense in this one. Meanwhile, +1, +2 for Liereyy, and ACCM does have +1, +2 as well. ACCM is playing with 1 TC apparently, while we're gonna see multiple TCs from Liereyy. Mangonel almost ready, but BadB0y has to run away right now from this one. This mangonel could be great though. This mangonel could be amazing. This mangonel could be amazing. BadB0y missing the first shot. Let's see if he's able to land another one. Beautiful micro from Hera. Gets one on top of his crossbows, but he lost like 2 crossbows to that mangonel. The mangonel is still alive though, and it's going to slowly clean up the crossbows over here. Meanwhile, some knights are still raiding, and they could really hurt Hera's eco here, because in the meanwhile, Hera doesn't really have a great eco. He's going for more and more crossbows, and apparently battering rams are on the way as well. Oh boy. In the long run, Lierey's team should have the upper hand by far, but this could be dangerous for Hera, because all he has is just a few crossbows, but meanwhile there is also quite a lot of knights coming in here from Liereyy, so ACCM might need to go back home and fight this one. It appears that ACCM is going to commit to this push. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Because they are going to take an okay fight here, but I don't think they will have enough to kill a lot of villagers. Whereas in the meanwhile, you have nothing to defend against this aggression. Monk gets killed. It's going to be triple stable knights, but now you're running with your gold miners. Honestly, Hera is also running with his gold miners, so it might still be worth it. But it's actually debatable if it's worth it or not. ACCM is down to 49 villagers. BadB0y is at 54. Honestly, they still have a better eco than AM. So this might still be worth it, and I think there might be enough knights here for ACCM to clean this up. It's 6 versus 10, but a lot of those knights from Liereyy are pretty weak. But in the meanwhile, ACCM has no food eco. ACCM has no food eco, and we kind of got the answer. This was a greedy move. He should have gone back home and defend, because right now he's unable to replenish his knights. Like, he can barely make 2 stables work. He has 6 villagers on food right now, and he didn't kill a lot from Hera. Hera is still at 46 eco. Liereyy is only at 38 though, which is a little bit disappointing for Liereyy, but he's soon going to knock down ACCM to 34 as well. I think ACCM was way too greedy in this one. He went for a push on Hera. If he goes back with the knights, he can easily take on Lierey's army and keep producing his knights. In this one, he is still going to survive, but Liereyy now has a better eco. Liereyy is also on 2 TCs. Liereyy is not producing wheels though, so technically ACCM can catch up on Huns or Huns. By the way, I want to point out that there is actually water on this map, and you can fish a tiny bit, something that BadB0y is doing. In fact, BadB0y actually made a transport ship. I wonder what that transport is for, but you could potentially transport villagers here to the outside and get quite a lot of gold and stone for yourself. Meanwhile though, all these villagers going down yet again. Hera is just beating BadB0y on the right side so badly for BadB0y. And now the eco is going to collapse for both Vietnamese players. ACCM is already having an insanely bad day with this eco. And in the meanwhile, BadB0y is also forced to run for his life consistently. Tries to get a mangonel out, but meanwhile Hera is coming in with a ram push. Hera is playing out of his mind in this game, so does Liereyy. And I feel like right now Vietnam is just trying to hold on, but they will give up in this very moment. And I was legitimately puzzled by their home map selections, and for a reason. This map is just not suitable to play against Liereyy and Hera. For any team that's present in competitive Age of Empires, I would say that this map, Liereyy and Hera are the best players on these map. So open, very aggressive, very quick wall heavy, and I don't understand why Vietnam went for this one. And in the end, after an Arabia defeat, Hera and Liereyy are actually coming back into the game. And yeah, Liereyy, basically, there was 2 games in this series where Liereyy just didn't make villagers in the end, and they won. Look at that. Liereyy 53-53, but what matters is that he killed villagers and ACCM killed knights. In this one, BadB0y still had the best eco, but look at this drop. This is what mattered. ACCM just lost massive amounts of villagers. This is where Liereyy just flooded ACCM with knights. It hurts so much for Vietnam, but they played pretty nicely. But this is the end of the road for them. It's unfortunate that they get matched up against potentially the toughest team in the game. Liereyy and Hera, on the other hand, played pretty outstanding, and they are going to be awaiting their opponent in the semifinals. Semifinals will be on Saturday, and exact start times are still up in the air. And indeed, it's a pity how they lost in the second game, because Vietnam was actually leading on Golden Pit, I think.